more equitable world. We're deeply concerned about conflicts across the world that continue to cause a great deal of suffering and hardship to many people around the world. As South Africa, our position remains that diplomacy, dialogue, negotiation, and adherence to the principles of the United Nations Charter are necessary for the peaceful and just resolution of conflicts. We are concerned that global financial and payment systems are increasingly being used as instruments of geopolitical contestation. Global economic recovery relies on predictable global payment systems and the smooth operating of banking, supply chains, trade, tourism, as well as financial flows. We will continue discussions on practical measures to facilitate trade and investment flows through the increased use of local currencies. This is a matter we believe that further discussions need to take place, particularly amongst our finance ministers. The world is changing. New economic, political, social, and technological realities for greater cooperation between nations is essential. New realities call for a fundamental reform of the institutions of global governance so that they may be more representative and better able to respond to the challenges that confront humanity. While many believe that we should advance the interests of all people, we believe that, yes, as we advance them, the interests of the global South, that we as BRICS want to be ready to advance are essential. And in this regard, we want to collaborate more, to cooperate more with all countries that aspire to create a more inclusive international order. We are confident that this 15th BRICS Summit will advance the cause of common prosperity and progress. We are confident that this 15th BRICS Summit will in the end enrich and inspire our work towards the achievement of a much more humane global community. This is what BRICS is all about. This is what BRICS is committed to achieving. It is a great honor for us as South Africa to have this opportunity to host this 15th BRICS Summit and to have in our presence the BRICS members as they are represented here. And with those words, I open this session and then call upon one of the young leaders of our country who is also going to have an opportunity to give the words of welcome, but also to give the hope that young people in the BRICS countries hope to communicate to all of us. I call upon Ms. Asanda Luata to speak to us. She is the chairperson of the board of directors of the National Youth Development Agency that seeks to advance the interests of young people in South Africa. Ms. Ayanda.
Thank you very much, Honorable President. Your Excellencies and the heads of states of the BRICS countries, ministers and deputy ministers present, members of the media, leaders of business, civil society and labor, young people. It gives me great pleasure to deliver a statement on behalf of young people to the BRICS Heads of State Summit. Young people make up a large proportion of the populations of each of our respective countries. Their voices and views are critical as we forge a post-pandemic society at the highest decision-making forums. I must recognize the efforts of the organizers in ensuring that young people are represented at this particular summit. Your Excellencies, from the 18th till the 20th of July, young people from BRICS countries converged in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal for the 9th BRICS Youth Summit and the first in person since the pandemic. The summit was convened under the theme BRICS and Africa, Partnership for Mutually Accelerated Growth, Sustainable Development, and Inclusive Multilateralism, to discuss the current state and future prospects for the development of youth cooperation in BRICS countries over a wide range of areas. As we have entered into the decade of action of the Sustainable Development Goals, we believe that BRICS countries in general, and young people in particular, should use their collective strengths to prioritize the development paradigm, using it as a guiding principle for our work as we continue intra-BRICS cooperation across areas such as trade, education, skills development and training, economic participation and transformation, health and well-being, and social cohesion. Your Excellencies, young people in their collective believe that youth are the present and the future, and our interactions as BRICS member states cannot and should not be limited to an annual summit, which is why at our 9th Youth Summit, we presented the draft framework for the establishment of a BRICS Youth Council, which will become the coordinating body for youth development between BRICS member countries and will join formations such as the BRICS Business Council, BRICS Women's Alliance, and the New Development Bank. More importantly, the Youth Council will be a historic achievement for young people across our BRICS member states. Since the summit, leaders of youth agencies have met on 3 occasions to consider the draft declaration and framework of the BRICS Youth Council, and we are pleased to inform this summit that we have reached consensus on the establishment of a Youth Council. This will allow us to ensure deeper and stronger collaboration amongst young people. We thus implore that this summit endorse our proposal for the establishment of the BRICS Youth Council in its final declaration, in ensuring that new pathways for positive change and innovation can be realized, and in doing so, will further ensure that no young person amongst the BRICS member states gets left behind. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayanda Luaka, for bringing the youth voice in the BRICS Summit. Your proposals indeed are very clear and comprehensive, and we will be responding to that. It now gives me pleasure to ask His Excellency President Luis Lula da Silva, President of the Federative Republic of Brazil, to take the floor.
My dear President of the Republic of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, my dear President Vladimir Putin, President of the Russian Federation, here represented by Foreign Affairs Minister Lavrov, my dear Prime Minister Modi of India, my dear Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China, and my dear sister Dilma Rousseff, the CEO of the New Development Bank
ministros de Estado do Brasil que
state
me
ministers of
acompanham,
Brazil that are in my
Mauro Vieira,
delegation, Mauro
Relações
Vieira of Foreign
Internacionais,
Affairs,
Fernando Haddad,
Fernando
Fazenda,
Haddad, Finance
Aniele
Minister of
Franco, de
Brazil, Aniele
Desigualdade
Franco
Racial,
for Racial Equality,
Embaixador Celso Amorim,
Ambassador
assessor
Celso Amorim,
especial,
Special International Advisor of the
minha
President,
querida esposa
and my dear
Janja,
wife, Janja,
senhoras e senhores
ladies
membros do
and
Conselho
gentlemen,
Empresarial
members
dos
of
BRICS,
the Business Forum of the
senhoras e
BRICS,
senhores membros da
ladies and
Aliança
gentlemen,
Empresarial
members
de
of the
Mulheres dos BRICS,
Women's
Levogan Zulu,
Entrepreneur
representante da Aliança
Alliance,
Empresarial de Mulheres dos BRICS,
and Madam
e a Zanda
Limbo
Lubaca,
Zulu,
diretora da Agência
representative of
Nacional de
the
Desenvolvimento da
Business
Juventude.
Alliance of Women of BRICS,
Amigas,
and the youth
amigos.
member, Asanda Luaka. Dear friends,
é uma alegria
it's
retornar
with
a
great joy to
Joanesburgo,
come back to Johannesburg,
cidade que foi palco
the city
importante das
that was a
lutas contra o
very
apartheid
important stage of
e que
struggle against
segue como
apartheid,
inspiração
and that
para
continues
o
to
combate
inspire
a
us to
todas as
fight
formas de
all forms
discriminação
of discrimination
e
and
desigualdade.
inequality.
Na última vez
The last
que
time
participei
that I
desta
participated
cúpula
in
em
this
2010,
summit meeting
tive a honra
2010,
de
I had
recepcionar
the
em
honor to
Brasília
host in
o chefe de
Brasilia, our
Estado e de
capital,
governo da
the heads
Rússia,
of state and
Índia e
government of
China,
Russia, India, and
além
China,
da África do Sul,
besides
que
South
participou
Africa, that participated
convidado.
as a candidate
Apenas
to
um
become
ano
member of the
depois,
BRICS. Only 1 year after
confirmamos o
that meeting, we
ingresso da África do
confirmed
Sul
that
na primeira
South Africa would
expansão
join
do nosso
the BRICS in
agrupamento.
the first expansion of our grouping.
Sua inclusão
Its
fez com que
inclusion
passássemos a
made that
refletir
we
melhor
could better
a nova
reflect the
configuração
new
do poder
configuration
mundial.
of the world power.
Saímos fortalecidos.
We left that meeting
Hoje,
strengthened.
representamos
Today, we
41%
represent
da população
41% of the world
e somos
population,
responsáveis por
and we are
31%
responsible
do
for
PIB global
31% of
em
the
paridade
global
do poder de
GDP
compra.
in terms of
Mas
purchasing
enfrentamos
power
cenário mais
parity.
complexo
But we
do que
face a
quando
more
nos
complex
reunimos pela
scenario
primeira
than when
vez.
we met for the very first
Em
time.
poucos anos,
In few years,
retrocedemos de uma
we
conjuntura de
went back
multipolaridade benigna
from a
para
benign
uma que retoma a mentalidade
multipolarity
violenta
juncture
Guerra Fria
to going
e da
back to an
competição
absolute
geopolítica.
mindset of Cold War
Essa
and
é uma
geopolitical
insensatez
competition.
que gera grandes
This
incertezas
is
e
lack
corrói o
of
multilateralismo.
census that generates great
Sabemos bem
uncertainty and corrodes
onde esse caminho pode nos
multilateralism.
levar.
We know very where this
mundo
path could take us.
precisa
The world
compreender
needs to
Os
understand
riscos
the
envolvidos
risks
são
that are
inaceitáveis.
involved and which are
para a
unacceptable
humanidade.
for humanity.
Os BRICS,
The BRICS,
todos sofrem as
we should say that
consequências da
all
guerra.
suffer the
As
consequences of the
populações
war.
mais vulneráveis
The most vulnerable population
em
in
desenvolvimento
the developing
são
countries
atingidas
are the ones that
proporcionalmente.
are hit
A guerra
more
da Ucrânia
in an
evidencia as
unproportional way.
limitações do
The
Conselho de Segurança.
Ukraine war
Muitos
shows the
outros
limitations of the UN
conflitos
Security
e crises
Council.
estão por vir.
Many other conflicts
Os
and
BRICS
crises do not
se
have
consolidou
the same
como
attention.
para a
And the
discussão
BRICS
dos
is a
principais
forum
temas que afetam
to
a paz
discuss the
e a
main issues
segurança
that affect
mundiais.
peace and
Não
world
podemos nos
security.
furtar
We cannot
a tratar
bypass to treat
o principal conflito da
the main
atualidade que
conflict of
ocorre na
today
Ucrânia
that is happening
e
in
tem efeitos
Ukraine
globais.
that has
O
global
Brasil
effects.
tem uma
Brazil
posição histórica
has
de
an
defesa
historical
da
position in
soberania,
the
da
defense of the
integridade
sovereignty and
territorial
integrity of the
e de todos
territory
os
and of
propósitos do
all
princípio das
the
Nações Unidas.
principles that are followed by the UN.
Achamos positivo
We believe that it
que
is
número
positive
crescente de
that a
países,
growing number
entre eles
of
os
countries,
países dos
amongst them
BRICS,
the BRICS
também
countries, also
esteja engajado
are
em contato
engaged
direto com
in
Moscou
direct
ou com
contact
Kiev.
with Moscow and
Não
with Kiev.
subestimamos as
We do not
dificuldades para alcançar
underestimate
a
the
paz.
difficulties to reach peace.
Tampouco
And
podemos
either
ficar
we
indiferentes
can
às
be
mortes e à
indifferent to the
destruição que
deaths and the
aumentam a cada
destruction
dia.
that increase every
O
day.
Brasil
Brazil
não contempla fórmulas
does not
unilaterais para a
contemplate
paz.
unilateral formulas for
prontos
peace. We are
para nos
ready
juntar a esforço que
to
possa
join
efetivamente
efforts that we can
contribuir para
effectively
pronto
contribute for
cessar-fogo e uma paz
immediate
justa
ceasefire
duradoura.
and a fair and
Todos
everlasting
sofrem
peace.
com a consequência da
Everybody
guerra.
suffers with the
As
consequences of the
populações mais
war.
vulneráveis nos
The most
países em
vulnerable
desenvolvimento
population
são
in the developing
atingidas
countries are the ones
desproporcionalmente.
that are reached in
guerra
an
na
unproportional way. The Ukraine war
evidencia as
shows
limitações
the
do
limitations
Conselho
of
de
the
Segurança.
UN Security Council.
Muitos outros
Many
conflitos
other
e crises
conflicts and crises
não recebem a
do not
atenção
receive
devida,
the due
mesmo
attention,
usando vasto
even
sofrimento,
even
mesmo
causing
causando vasto
a
sofrimento
vast
para suas
suffering
populações.
for their peoples.
Haitianos,
Haitians,
Yemenitas,
Yemenites,
sírios,
Syrian,
líbios,
Libyans,
sudaneses
and
e
Sudanese, and
Todos
Palestinians
merecem viver em
all
paz.
deserve to live
É
in peace.
inaceitável que
It
o
is
gasto militar
unacceptable that
globais
global
em
military
único ano
spending
ultrapassa 2
in 1
trilhões
year
de
goes
dólares,
beyond $2
enquanto
trillion,
a FAO
while the
nos diz
FAO
735
says to will manage to
criação de uma
face these
moeda
challenges. The
para as
creation
transações
of a common
comerciais
valued unit
e de
for our trade
investimentos
transactions
President Ramaphosa, distinguished President, distinguished Prime Minister Modi, President Xi, dear colleagues, at the outset, I would like to thank South African friends for what they have done during their presidency, during their chairmanship this year. The colleagues before me have already given positive assessment of the BRICS activities. And in general, certainly we share these assessments. Our group of 5 countries has rightly proved to be a credible entity on the global arena with ever-growing influence in global affairs. The strategic course of BRICS is aimed at the future, and it meets the aspirations of the main part of the international community, the so-called global majority. By acting in concert on the principles of equality, partnership, support, and account for each other's interests, we deal with the most pressing issues of global and regional agenda. The main important thing is that BRICS stands for a multipolar world order that is equitable and built on international law and the principles of the United Nations Charter, including respect for the right of every people to its own development path. Some countries promote their hegemony, exceptionality, and their policy of the ongoing colonialism and neocolonialism. I would like to note that the aspiration to preserve their hegemony in the world led to a dire crisis in Ukraine, at first with the help of Western countries. An anti-constitutional coup d'etat was carried out in this country. After that, those people who did not agree with this coup faced a war. A war was unleashed against them, a war of attrition, and it lasted for 8 years. Russia decided to support people that fight for their culture, for their traditions, for their language and their future. Our actions in Ukraine are guided by only one thing: to put an end to the war that was unleashed by the West against people in Donbass. We thank our colleagues within BRICS that take an active part in the attempts to put an end to this situation and to ensure just settlement by peaceful means. Dear colleagues, the main thing is that we unanimously stand for the shaping of a multipolar world order, which is genuinely equitable and which is building on international law. The BRICS countries are building up their potential. As was said, the BRICS countries are home to over 3 billion persons, and their share in global GDP as per purchasing power parity of the so-called G7. Over the past decades, BRICS investment to global economy have doubled, and the cumulative export reached 20% of the overall indicator. We are successfully implementing the strategy for BRICS Economic Partnership 2025. Namely, we are strengthening the bilateral cooperation on such areas as diversification of supply chains, de-dollarization and transfer to local currencies in our mutual settlements, digital economy, support for small and medium enterprises, just transfer of technologies, and naturally, the active part in this process is played by business community. A great deal of effort is invested within the BRICS Business Council and the BRICS Women's Business Alliance that the host of our meeting, President Ramaphosa, indicated. The leaders of these organizations are present at this meeting. An important priority for the BRICS interaction is the establishment of new sustainable, safe transport routes. In my address to the BRICS Business Forum, I talked about the importance of a speedy development of transcontinental routes, such as the North-South corridor that would link Russian Northern Sea and Baltic ports to sea terminals in the Gulf and in the Indian Ocean. In the future, it would ensure the annual transit of up to 30 million tons of cargo. We believe that it is high time to establish a BRICS Permanent Commission on Transport that would deal not only with the North-South project, but in broader terms, it would deal with logistics and transport corridors development, both interregional and global ones. Should the partners agree to that, the Russian side could work on this idea within its chairmanship in 2024. And certainly, we welcome strengthened interaction within BRICS in terms of global innovations. We look forward to a more active cooperation within the BRICS Global Research Advanced Infrastructure Network. It could be supported and developed by the Special Trust Fund. For its part, Russia is ready to share its experience and best practices, including when it comes to digital transformation and the use of artificial intelligence. We also seek to actively participate in the implementation of the achieved arrangements on the establishment of the Joint Working Group on Nuclear Medicine. We seek to swiftly switch into practice the work of the BRICS TVET Cooperation Alliance. We wholeheartedly support the proposal of South African colleagues to organize a separate ministerial on women affairs. Their role in political, economic, and social life of our states should definitely be enhanced. Dear colleagues, next year, Russia will assume BRICS chairmanship. Our chairmanship will have the following motto: strengthening multilateralism for just global development and security. We plan to have some 200 political, economic, and public events that will be hosted by over a dozen Russian cities. At the same time, the BRICS summit is scheduled for October 2024. It will take place in the city of Kazan. The specific dates will be agreed upon with colleagues via diplomatic channels. We'll also have events in the format that has proved its relevance. I'm talking about BRICS Plus and BRICS Outreach. During our chairmanship, we would like to do our utmost to efficiently facilitate the implementation of decisions adopted at this summit, including with regard to the expansion of BRICS. We will coordinate closely with partners on foreign policy matters. We will jointly work on key international platforms, primarily within the United Nations. We'll continue regular meetings of BRICS national security advisors. Certainly, we will prioritize such urgent tasks as combating terrorism and the spread of terrorist ideology, as well as combating money laundering and return of assets gained by criminal means. By the way, we thank partners for their support within the Financial Action Task Force. We hope that we will keep such spirit of solidarity in the future. We will contribute to comprehensive implementation of the Strategy for BRICS Economic Partnership 2025 and the development of new long-term guidelines for cooperation. This includes, in our view, increasing the role of states in international monetary and financial system, the development of interbank cooperation, expanding the use of local currencies, and deepening interaction between tax, customs, and anti-monopoly agencies. Naturally, Russian priorities include bolstered partnerships in science and innovation, healthcare, education, the development of humanitarian ties in general, cultural and civilizational diversity is one of the pillars of the new multiple world order, and it means the establishment of integral free space for cultural exchange, art, and creativity. As we see it, it's high time for partners within BRICS, as well as the ASEO and the Community of Independent States and other countries to have a serious conversation on the future of culture in the world, on preserving and multiplying the global cultural heritage. By the way, such dialogue could be held within the 9th International Cultural Forum, which is scheduled to take place in the city of St. Petersburg from November 16th to 18th. And certainly, Russia will continue to contribute to contacts in sports and youth exchanges, namely in June 2024, we plan to have the BRICS Games. We would be happy to welcome teams from the BRICS nations at the next year's international competition, the Games of the Future. They will take place in the city of Kazan. This is a mix of dynamic sports and popular video games and technological devices. A good opportunity for contacts and friendly talks will be given by the World Youth Festival that will take place in March next year in the city of Sochi. In conclusion, let me once again highlight that Russia, during its chairmanship, will interact in the most constructive way with BRICS partners in order to further enhance the role and credibility of BRICS. Without any doubt, this credibility will only grow. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, President Putin, for your input in this regard. You're absolutely right that BRICS has proven itself to be a credible entity that acts in solidarity, that seeks to promote a more equitable global system. And we thank you also for the recognition of the efforts that are being made by a number of BRICS countries to bring about a peaceful end to the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. We agree that in the end, this type of conflict is best brought about to an end by negotiation, which you have said you have always been ready for. The BRICS members will continue to be supportive of various efforts to bring this conflict to an end through dialogue, mediation, and negotiation. And thank you for your thoughts also about the support that needs to be given to small, medium enterprises. That is appreciated. And the women empowerment process that needs to be enhanced. That too, we truly appreciate. And you've made comments about the reform of international financial systems. That too is a matter that the BRICS needs to be seized with. And the BRICS leaders in retreat yesterday did talk about this, and an announcement in this regard will be finalized. And the cultural advancement culminating in the BRICS Games is something that also has a great deal of resonance amongst the BRICS leaders. So thank you very much indeed. It now gives me pleasure to ask the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India, to take the podium. Prime Minister.
Excellency,
Rashtrapati Ramaphosa,
President Ramaphosa,
Excellency,
Excellency,
Rashtrapati Lula da Silva,
President Lula da Silva,
Excellency, Rashtrapati Putin,
Excellency, President Putin,
Excellency, Rashtrapati Xi,
Excellency, President Xi,
ladies and gentlemen, 15वें ब्रिक्स समिट के भव्य आयोजन
my
और हमारे आतिथ्य सत्कार के लिए
congratulations and thanks
मैं प्रिय
once
मित्र
again
राष्ट्रपति रामाफोसा
to
को
my dear
एक
friend
बार फिर से
President Ramaphosa
बहुत-बहुत
for
बधाई देता
the
हूं।
wonderful arrangements made for the organization
जोहानिसबर्ग
of the
जैसे खूबसूरत
15th
शहर में
BRICS Summit and
एक
for
बार
his
फिर आना
hospitality. It is a
मेरे
great
और मेरे
pleasure
डेलीगेशन के लिए
for me.
अत्यंत
É
खुशी का
grande
विषय है।
prazer para mim
इस शहर का भारत के लोगों और भारत के इतिहास से पुराना गहरा संबंध है। यहाँ से कुछ दूर ही टॉल्स्टॉय फार्म है, जिसका निर्माण महात्मा गांधी ने
A short
110 वर्ष
distance
पहले
away from
किया।
here is Tolstoy Farm, that
भारत
Mahatma Gandhi
यूरेशिया
built
और अफ्रीका
110
के
years
महान
ago
विचारों को जोड़कर
by bringing together the great
महात्मा गांधी ने
philosophies of Eurasia
हमारी
and
एकता और
Africa.
आपसी
Mahatma
सौहार्द की
Gandhi laid a strong
मजबूत
foundation
नींव रखी थी।
for our unity and mutual
Excellencies,
harmony. Excellencies,
पिछले लगभग 2
the
दशकों
last
में
2 decades
ब्रिक्स ने
have been
एक बहुत ही
a
लंबी
long and
और शानदार
magnificent
यात्रा
journey for BRICS.
तय की है। इस यात्रा में
We
हमने
have had
अनेक
many
उपलब्धियां हासिल की
achievements during this journey.
हमारा न्यू
Our
डेवलपमेंट
new
बैंक
development bank
ग्लोबल साउथ के
is
देशों के
playing
विकास में
an important role
महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका
in the
निभा रहा है।
development of the contingency reserve
हमने
arrangement.
फाइनेंशियल
We
सेफ्टी
have
नेट का
created a
निर्माण किया।
financial safety net
ब्रिक्स सैटेलाइट
through initiatives such as
Constellation,
the BRICS satellite
वैक्सीन
constellation,
R&D
the
सेंटर
vaccine R&D center,
फार्मा उत्पादों को
mutual
पारंपरिक मान्यता
recognition of pharma
जैसी
products.
पहलों से हम
We are bringing
ब्रिक्स देशों
about
के आम नागरिकों के जीवन में
positive
सकारात्मक
changes
बदलाव
in
ला
the
रहे हैं।
lives of ordinary citizens
Youth
in
Summit,
BRICS countries
ब्रिक्स गेम्स
through initiatives such as the
थिंक
Youth
टैंक
Summit,
काउंसिल
BRICS Games,
जैसे
the
इनिशिएटिव
Think
से हम
Tanks Council.
सभी देशों के
We
बीच
are
people to
strengthening
people ties
people
मजबूत
to
कर
people
रहे हैं।
ties between all countries.
ब्रिक्स एजेंडा को नई दिशा देने के
In
लिए
order to give
भारत ने
the BRICS agenda new
रेलवे रिसर्च
direction,
नेटवर्क
India has given some
MSME के बीच
suggestions,
करीबी सहयोग
such as the Railway Research
ऑनलाइन
Network,
ब्रिक्स डेटाबेस
the
स्टार्टअप फोरम
online
जैसे
BRICS
कुछ
database,
सुझाव रखे।
close cooperation between MSMEs
मुझे
and a
खुशी है
startup forum.
इन
I am
विषयों पर
pleased that
उल्लेखनीय प्रगति हुई है।
significant progress has been made in all these
Excellencies,
areas. Excellencies,
हमारे करीबी सहयोग
in
को
order
और
to
व्यापक बनाने
further
के लिए
expand our
मैं कुछ
close
सुझाव
cooperation, I
आपके
would
सामने
like to place
रखना
before
चाहूंगा।
you a few suggestions.
पहला है
The first is
स्पेस के क्षेत्र में सहयोग।
cooperation in the area of space.
ब्रिक्स सैटेलाइट
We
कॉन्स्टेलेशन
have
पर
already
पहले
been
से काम कर रहे
working
हैं।
on a BRICS
एक
satellite
कदम आगे बढ़ाते
constellation.
हुए
Taking a step
हम ब्रिक्स
forward,
स्पेस
we
एक्सप्लोरेशन
can think about
कंसोर्टियम बनाने पर
creating a BRICS space
विचार कर सकते
exploration
हैं।
consortium.
इसके अंतर्गत
Under this,
हम स्पेस रिसर्च
we can work on
वेदर
areas
मॉनिटरिंग
such as space
जैसे
research
क्षेत्रों में
and weather
ग्लोबल गुड
monitoring
के लिए
for
काम कर
global
सकते
good.
हैं। मेरा दूसरा सुझाव
My
है
second suggestion
शिक्षा
is
स्किल
cooperation
डेवलपमेंट
in the areas
और
of
टेक्नोलॉजी में
education,
सहयोग
skill development, and
ब्रिक्स को
technology.
एक फ्यूचर
In
रेडी
order
ऑर्गेनाइजेशन
to
बनाने
make
के लिए
BRICS a
हमें
future
अपनी
ready
सोसाइटी को
organization,
फ्यूचर
we
रेडी
must
बनाना
make
होगा।
our societies future ready.
इसमें टेक्नोलॉजी की अहम
Technology
भूमिका
can
रहेगी।
play an important role
भारत में हमने
in this regard.
दूर सुदूर तथा ग्रामीण
In
क्षेत्रों के
order
बच्चों
to provide access
और उनके
to
तक शिक्षा पहुंचाने के
education
लिए
for children
दीक्षा
living in remote
यानी
and
डिजिटल
rural
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर
areas
पर
in
नॉलेज
India,
शेयरिंग प्लेटफॉर्म
we have
बनाया
created
है।
the Diksha
साथ
platform,
ही
that is
स्कूल
digital
के विद्यार्थियों के
infrastructure
बीच
for
इनोवेशन
knowledge
को बढ़ावा
sharing.
देने के लिए
At the same time,
हमने देश भर
in
में
order to promote
10,000
innovation
अटल
among
टिंकरिंग
school
लैब
children,
बनाए।
we have created 10,000
भाषा
Atal
संबंधी
tinkering
बाधाओं को
labs
हटाने के
across
लिए
the country
भारत
in
में
order to remove
AI
language
बेस्ड
barriers.
लैंग्वेज
An
प्लेटफॉर्म
AI-based language
भाषिणी का
platform,
इस्तेमाल किया
Bhashini,
जा रहा है।
is being used.
वैक्सीनेशन के लिए
The
कोविन
CoWIN
प्लेटफॉर्म
platform
बनाया गया।
has been made to manage
डिजिटल
vaccinations
पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर
through our digital public
यानी इंडिया स्टैक के
infrastructure,
माध्यम
that
से
is the India
पब्लिक
stack.
सर्विस डिलीवरी को
Public service delivery
रिवॉल्यूशनराइज
is
किया जा
being
रहा है।
revolutionized.
विविधता भारत की एक
Diversity
बहुत बड़ी ताकत
is
है।
one of India's
भारत
greatest
में किसी
strengths.
समस्या का हल
The solution
इस विविधता की
to
कसौटी
any
से निकल
problem
कर
found
आता
in
है।
India has withstood the
इसलिए
test of this
ये
diversity,
सॉल्यूशंस
and
विश्व
therefore
के किसी भी
these
कोने में
solutions
आसानी से
can
लागू हो
easily
सकते
be
हैं।
implemented
इस
in
संदर्भ
any
में
part of the world.
भारत में
In
विकसित
this regard,
इन सभी
we
प्लेटफॉर्म्स
will
को
be pleased to share
ब्रिक्स
with
पार्टनर्स के
BRICS
साथ
partners
साझा करने
all
में
these
हमें
platforms
खुशी हो।
developed in India.
मेरा दूसरा सुझाव है
My third
कि
suggestion
एक दूसरे की
is
ताकतों की
that in
पहचान करने
order
के
to
लिए
identify each
हम
other's
मिलकर
strengths,
स्किल
we can carry out
मैपिंग पर
together
कर सकते हैं।
a skills mapping
इसके माध्यम से
exercise.
हम
Through
विकास
this,
यात्रा में
we can
एक दूसरे
complement
के
each other in
पूरक
the
बन सकते हैं।
development journey.
मेरा चौथा
My
सुझाव है
fourth suggestion
बिग कैट्स के संबंध में।
relates to big cats.
ब्रिक्स के पांचों देशों
In
में
all 5 BRICS
बड़ी
countries,
संख्या में
various
विभिन्न
species
प्रजातियों के
of
बिग
big
कैट्स
cats
पाए जाते
can
हैं।
be found in large numbers.
इंटरनेशनल बिग
Under
कैट
the
अलायंस के अंतर्गत
International Big Cat
हम इनके
Alliance,
संरक्षण के लिए
we can make
साझा प्रयास
joint
कर
efforts
सकते हैं।
for their protection.
मेरा पांचवा सुझाव
My
है
fifth suggestion
ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन को
relates
लेकर।
to traditional
हम
medicine.
सभी देशों में
All our countries
ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन
have
का इकोसिस्टम है।
traditional medicine
क्या हम
ecosystems.
मिलकर
Can we together
ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन की
create
रिपोजिटरी
a
बना
repository
सकते हैं?
of traditional medicine?
एक्सेलेंसी,
Excellencies,
दक्षिण अफ्रीका की अध्यक्षता में
under South Africa's
ग्लोबल साउथ
presidency,
के देशों को
countries of the global
एक
south
महत्व विशेष
have been given
दिया गया है।
special importance
हम
in
इसका हृदय
BRICS.
से स्वागत करते
We
हैं।
heartily welcome this.
यह वर्तमान समय की
This
मात्रा
is not just
अपेक्षा ही नहीं,
an expectation
जरूरत
of
भी
the
है।
present times, but a
भारत ने
necessity as well.
अपनी G20
Under its
अध्यक्षता में
G20
इस विषय
presidency,
को
India has
सर्वोच्च
given
प्राथमिकता
this
दी है।
subject the highest
वन
priority.
अर्थ,
Based
वन फैमिली,
on our
वन
core
फ्यूचर,
value,
इस
one
मूल
earth,
मंत्र पर हम
one family,
सभी
one
देशों के साथ
future,
मिलकर
we are making
बढ़ने का
efforts to move
प्रयास
forward
कर रहे हैं।
together with all
इस
countries.
वर्ष जनवरी में आयोजित
In the Voice
Voice of
of
Global
Global
South
South
में
Summit organized in
125
January
देशों ने
earlier
भाग
this
लिया
year,
और अपनी चिंताओं
125
और
countries
प्राथमिकताओं को
participated
साझा किया।
and shared their
हमने
concerns
अफ्रीकन यूनियन
and
को
priorities.
G20 की स्थायी
We have
सदस्यता देने
also
का प्रस्ताव भी
proposed permanent
रखा है।
membership for the African
मुझे
Union
विश्वास है
in the
कि
G20.
सभी ब्रिक्स पार्टनर्स
I am confident
G20 में भी
that all
साथ है
BRIC
और
partners
सभी
are also
हमारे
together
प्रस्ताव का
in the G20
समर्थन करेंगे।
and that all will
इन सभी
support
प्रयासों
our
को ब्रिक्स में
proposal,
भी विशेष स्थान दिए जाने
giving
से
a special
ग्लोबल साउथ
place
के देशों
to
को
all these efforts
आत्मबल
within BRICS
और
as well,
बढ़ेगा।
will further boost the
Excellency,
morale of countries of
भारत
the global south.
ब्रिक्स की सदस्यता
Excellencies,
में
India
विस्तार का
fully
पूरा
supports
समर्थन
the
करता है
expansion of
और
BRICS
इसमें
membership,
कंसेंसस के साथ
and we
आगे बढ़ने
welcome
का
moving
स्वागत
forward
करता है।
on this based on
2016
consensus.
में
In
भारत की अध्यक्षता के
2016,
दौरान
during India's
हमने ब्रिक्स को
presidency, we
building
had defined
responsive,
BRICS as a group
इंक्लूसिव
building
एंड
responsive,
कलेक्टिव सॉल्यूशन से
inclusive,
परिभाषित किया
and
था।
collective solutions.
7 साल बाद
7 years
हम कह
later,
सकते हैं
we can
कि
say
ब्रिक्स विल बी
that BRICS will be
breaking
breaking barriers,
revitalizing economy,
revitalizing economies,
inspiring innovation,
inspiring innovation,
creating opportunities
creating
and
opportunities,
shaping
and
the future.
shaping the future.
हम सभी ब्रिक्स
Together
पार्टनर के साथ
with
मिलकर
all BRICS
इस नई
partners,
परिभाषा को
we will
सार्थक
continue
करने में
to
सक्रिय
contribute
योगदान देते
actively
रहेंगे।
to make this
बहुत
new
बहुत धन्यवाद।
definition meaningful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Modi, for your very insightful remarks. Would like to particularly thank you, South Africa, for reminding us of the journey that Mahatma Gandhi started here in South Africa and what he imparted to our forebears in South Africa in the modes of struggle. He was one who was strong on resistance. He taught us passive resistance, which he perfected, and we escalated to various acts of boycotts against the apartheid system. And through that, we were able to encourage citizen activism and organizations that were involved in our struggle, like the African National Congress and others, mobilized our people to fight against apartheid and finally to defeat it. So Mahatma Gandhi played a very important role in the history of South Africa. Thank you for reminding us. Would like to congratulate India, particularly as you speak about the need for cooperation in space. In a few hours, India's spacecraft Chandrayaan-3 will be landing on the moon. We congratulate you. This, for us as the BRICS family, is a momentous occasion, and we rejoice with you. We join you in the joy of this great achievement. But we also thank you for making the proposal that there should perhaps be a BRICS space cooperation system which can be looked at. It's a very forward-looking proposal. And your proposals on the development of skills is something that we appreciate and has great support amongst all of us. And thank you very much for also mentioning the issue about big cats. We were pleased as South Africa to donate cheetahs to India, and you informed me that the cheetahs arrived well and they are alive in India. And I told you that we are willing and prepared to donate even more, because you are a country that takes care of big cats. So we thank you for that. So should you need more cheetahs, you've come to the home of cheetahs. On the issue of traditional medicines repository, we have a very big community of people who are involved in traditional medicine here in South Africa. So we're willing to cooperate, and I'm sure the same obtains with all other members of BRICS. And this you will find great support for amongst all of us to create a traditional medicines repository. So that would be good to heal all the ailments. We should not just continue being dependent on Western medicines. We should be also dependent on our own traditional medicines. We appreciate your focus on the Global South, and also for having had this meeting of 125 countries participating. The Global South should now continue to be our area of focus, and we appreciate that. We want to wish you well as you continue to prepare to host the G20 summit, at which you have invited us, and we will surely participate. And we are heartened to hear that India supports the expansion of BRICS. This is a matter that we are discussing, and hopefully we will find a clear solution to this matter as we discuss it amongst ourselves as BRICS leaders. So we thank you very much. My honor now to call on His Excellency President Xi Jinping to take the floor and address us. President Xi Jinping.
Your Excellency, President Cyril Ramaphosa, Your Excellency, President Lula da Silva, Your Excellency, President Vladimir Putin, Your Excellency, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Together at a time when the world is undergoing major shifts, division, and regrouping, it has entered a new period of turbulence and transformation. We, the BRICS countries, should always bear in mind our founding purpose of strengthening ourselves through unity, act on a strong sense of responsibility, enhance cooperation across the board, and promote high-quality development so as to bring to the world more certainty, stability, and positive energy.
我们要深化经贸、
We should
财
deepen
经合作，
business and financial
助力经济
cooperation
发展。
to boost economic growth.
发展是各国不可剥夺的权
Development
利，
is an inalienable right
不
of all
是少数
countries.
国家的专利。
It is not a privilege reserved for
当
a
前
few.
世界经济
The
复
world
苏
economic
势
recovery
头不稳，
remains shaky,
国际机构预测
with less than
今年世界经济
3%
增
of
长
growth
不
for the
足
year,
3%。
as estimated by some international
发展中国家
institutions.
面临的挑战
Challenges
更
for
为严
developing
峻，
countries are even more
实现可
formidable,
持续发展目标
hampering
任
their
重道
efforts
远。
to realize the sustainable development
金砖
goals.
国家要做发
We
展
BRICS
振兴
countries
道路上的
should be
同
fellow
行者，
companions on the journey of development
反
and
对
revitalization,
脱钩
and
断裂、
oppose decoupling and supply chain
经济
disruption,
胁迫，
as well as economic coercion.
要聚焦务实合作，
We should focus on
特别
practical
是数字经
cooperation,
济、
particularly
绿
in
色发
such
展、
fields as digital
供应
economy,
链
green
等领
development,
域，
and supply chain,
促进经贸和财经
and
领
bolster
域往来
economic, trade, and
与
financial
交流。
exchanges.
中国将设立
China
中国
will set up
金砖国家
a
新
China
时代
BRICS
科技孵化园，
Science and Innovation Incubation
为
Park
科技创新
for the
成
new
果
era
转化
to
提供
support
支
the
撑，
deployment of innovation results.
依托金砖国家
Under
遥
the
感卫星
BRICS
星座
remote
合
sensing
作机制
satellite，constellation mechanism,
探索建
we
立
will explore
金砖国
the
家全
establishment
球
of a
遥
BRICS
感卫星
global
数据
remote sensing satellite
与应用
data and
合作平
application
台，
cooperation platform
为各国农业、
to provide
生态
data support
减
for
灾等领域发
agriculture,
展提
ecological
供数据支
conservation,
持。
and disaster reduction in various countries.
中方愿同各方共建
China will also work
金
with
砖
all
国家可
parties
持续
to
产
jointly
业交流合
establish
作机
a
制，
BRICS framework on industrial
为落实
cooperation
联合国
for sustainable
2030
development
年可
as
持
a
续发展
platform
议
of
程
industrial coordination
提
and
供产业
project
对接
cooperation
和
in
项目合
implementing
作
the
平台。
United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
我们要拓展政治安全合作，
We should expand political
维
and
护
security
和平
cooperation
安宁。
to uphold peace and tranquility.
当前，冷战思维
The Cold War
阴魂不
mentality
散，
is still haunting our world,
地缘政治形势严
and
峻。
the geopolitical situation is getting
金砖国
tense.
家要坚持和平发展的
BRICS
大方向，
countries should keep to the direction of
巩固
peaceful
金砖国
development
家战略伙伴
and
关系，
consolidate the BRICS strategic
要用
partnership.
好金砖国家
We need to make
外
good
长
use
会晤、
of the BRICS foreign ministers
安
meeting,
全事务高级代表会议
the
等
meeting
机
of
制，
high representatives on national security,
在
and
涉
other
及彼此核心
mechanisms.
利益的问题上
Support
相
each
互
other
支持，
on issues concerning our
就
respective
重大
core
国际和地区
interests
问题加强协调，
and enhance coordination on major international and
要
regional
积极
issues.
斡旋热点问题，
We need to tender good
推动
offices
政
on
治解
hotspot
决，
issues, pushing for
给
political
热点
settlement
问题
and lowering
降
the
温
temperature.
去火。人工智能是人类发展新领域，
Artificial intelligence
既
is
能
a
带
new
来巨
frontier
大发
of
展红
development.
利，也
It may
蕴含着
generate enormous
风险
development
挑战。
dividends, but also harbors
5国已
risks
经
and
同意
challenges.
尽快启动人
Our
工
five
智能
countries have
研究
agreed
组
to
工
launch
作，
the AI study group of BRICS
要充分
Institute
发
of
挥研究
Future
组作
Networks
用，
at an early date.
进一步拓展
We need to
人工
enable
智
the
能
study
合
group
作，
to play its
加
full
强信
role,
息交流
further
和
expand
技术合
cooperation on
作，
AI, and step up
共
information
同做好
exchange
风
and
险
technological
防范，
cooperation. We
推
need to
动建
jointly
立普
fend
遍
off
参与
risks
的
and
国际机
develop
制，
AI governance frameworks, and
形成
standards
具有
with
广泛
broad-based
共识
consensus.
的人工智能治理框架和标准规范，
So as to
不断提升人工
make
智能技
AI
术的
technologies
安全性、
more
可
secure,
靠性、可
reliable,
控性、公平
controllable,
性。
and equitable.
我们要加强人文交流，促
We
进
should
文明
increase
互鉴。
people-to-people exchanges and
文
promote
明多彩多
mutual
姿，
learning between civilizations.
发展道路多
There are
元多
many
样，
civilizations and development
这
paths
是
in
世
the
界
world,
应有的样
And
子。
this is how the world should be.
人类历史不会终结
Human
于一
history
种文
will not
明、
end with
一种
a
制度。
particular civilization or system.
金砖国家要弘扬海纳百川的精
BRICS
神，
countries need to champion the
倡
spirit
导不
of
同和平共
inclusiveness
处、文
and
明和平
advocate
共处、
peaceful coexistence and
和和
harmony
共生，
between civilizations.
要尊重各国自主选择的
We should
现代化
respect
道路，
all modernization
反
paths
对
that each
意识
country
形态对立、
chooses on its own
制度对
and
抗、
oppose ideological rivalry,
文明冲突。
systemic confrontation, and clash of civilizations.
要用好金砖国家治国理政研讨
We
会、
need to make good use of such
人文交
mechanisms
流论
as the
坛、
BRICS seminar on
女
governance,
性创新
the
大
BRICS
赛等
forum
机
on
制，
people-to-people and culture exchanges,
深化人文
and the
交流，
women innovation
增进
contest
民
to
心
deepen
相通。
people-to-people exchanges and strengthen the bond between our
中方
peoples.
提议，
China would like
金
to
砖国家
propose
拓展教
that
育领
BRICS
域合作，
countries expand cooperation on
发挥
education,
好职业教育联
enhance the
盟作
role
用，
of the BRICS alliance for
探索
vocational
建立
education,
数字教育合作机
explore
制，
and set up a cooperation
打造
mechanism
全
on
方
digital
位
education,
教育合作格局，
and foster a paradigm of all-round cooperation
同
on
时加
education.
强传统文化交
In
流，
addition, we also need to
促
strengthen
进优秀
exchanges
传
on
统文
traditional
化
cultures,
传承和
and
创新。
promote the renewal of the fine traditional cultures.
我们要坚持公平正义，
We should
完
uphold
善全
fairness
球治
and
理，
justice and improve global
加
governance.
强全球治理是国际社会共享发展机遇，
Strengthening global
应
governance
对
is the
全
right
球性
choice
挑战的
if the international
正确
community
选
intends
择
to share development opportunities and tackle
国际
global
规则
challenges.
要依据联合国宪章宗旨和原则，
Must be written and
由大
upheld
家共
jointly
同书写，
by all countries,
共同维护，
based on the purposes and principles
不能
of
谁
the
的胳膊
UN
粗
Charter,
嗓门大，
rather than
谁就说了算，
dictated by those with the strongest muscles
更不
or the
能
loudest
拉帮
voice.
结派，把自己
Ganging
的
up
家法
to
帮
form
规
exclusive
包
groups
装成
and
国际
packaging
规
their
则。
own rules as international norms are even
金砖
more
国家要
unacceptable.
践行真正的多边主义，
BRICS countries should
坚持
practice
团
true
结，
multilateralism,
反对分裂，维护以
stick
联
to
合国为核
solidarity
心的
and oppose
国际
division,
体系，
uphold
支
the
持并加强以
UN-centered
世贸
international
组织为核
system,
心的多边
support
贸易
and
体制，
strengthen the WTO-centered
反对
multilateral
小
trading
圈子、
system,
小集
and
团，
reject the attempt to create small
要
circles
充分
or
发挥
exclusive blocks.
新开发银行的作
We
用，
need to fully leverage the
推
role
动
of
国
the
际
new
金融货
development
币
bank,
体系改革，
push forward reform
提
of
升
the
发展中
international
国家的代表
financial
性
and monetary
和发
systems,
言权。
and increase the representation and voice of developing
我高兴
countries.
地看到
I am
发
glad to
展中
see
国家参与
the
金砖
growing
合作的
enthusiasm of
热情
developing
高涨，
countries about
很
BRICS,
多发展中国家
about
申请加入
participating in BRICS
金砖
cooperation,
合作机制。
and quite a number of them have applied
我
to
们要
join the
用
BRICS
好
cooperation mechanism.
金砖加合作，
We need to make good use
加
of
速
the BRICS
扩
Plus
员进
cooperation
程，
format and
让更
accelerate
多
the
国家
BRICS
加
expansion
入
process
到
to
金
bring
砖大
more
家庭，
countries into the BRICS
集
family
众志，
so as
汇
to
群力，
pool our strengths, pool
推
our
动
wisdom
全球治理朝着
to
更
make
加
global
公正合理
governance
的
more
方向
just
发展。
and equitable.
各位同事，
Colleagues,
中国古人
as
说
an ancient Chinese saying goes,
谋度于义者必
designs for
得，
justice prevail
事因于民者
and acts
必
for the
成。
benefit of the people succeed.
金砖事业秉持国
The
际道
cause
义，
of BRICS champions
造福
international
我国人
justice
民，
and benefits the
必
peoples of
将
our five
行稳
countries.
致远，
It will grow
为
steady and
促进
strong
世界和平和发展
and make
做出
greater
更
contributions
大的
to
贡献。
world peace and development.
我说完了，谢谢大家。
Thank you.
Thank you, President Xi Jinping, for those insightful words. Yes, indeed, the world has entered a new period of turbulence, and you call upon BRICS to play an important role, notwithstanding this turbulence that the world is going through, and that the BRICS family should remain united but more importantly, should be ready to play a key role in helping to stabilize the world. And you mentioned a very important point about development, that it is not a privilege of a few. Development should be spread around so that all can benefit. And you mentioned a number of areas in which there should be development: in science, technological advancement, in innovation. And we thank you also for the offer to set up a BRICS remote data center that will help to advance the technological and innovative capability of BRICS countries, as well as developing a framework for implementing the SDGs. We thank you for that. And much as you say, the Cold War mentality continues to haunt the world, that the BRICS countries should stand on the side of peace. I think we support that, and we support the message you put forward that we should support each other on our core interests, the areas that each one of us in BRICS focus on. And artificial intelligence is a new frontier that we need to focus on, but we should also have governance of artificial intelligence, and it should be reliable and secure. And another important aspect is the people-to-people contact that we should underpin our unity in the BRICS around, and that there should be respect for the modernization paths that countries have opted for. So we thank you for that. And there should not be ideological competition. This is the calling card for BRICS countries. Empowerment of women, and also must promote traditional cultures. That too, we should say we appreciate. And yes, President Xi, you are in full support of the expansion of BRICS, as has been articulated by all BRICS members, that we stand at the cusp of expanding the BRICS family, because it is through this expansion that we will be able to have a much stronger BRICS in these turbulent times that we live in. So we await the decision that will be taken by the BRICS leaders in this regard in due course as we go on with our summit. We've now reached a stage where we now want to give the media an opportunity, as they often ask for, that once they've done quite a bit of work, they want to go and rest. So we want to give the media an opportunity to go and rest. I don't know what they do when they go to rest, whether they have a siesta or whether they go and have tea, but we want to give them that opportunity. But they can be rest assured we will continue with our work because we are committed to doing so. We are mindful of their wishes and their interests, so we will pause for a while and give them an opportunity to leave us, to go and rest, and then we will continue with our meeting. So we pause just for a while to allow the media to go and do what they do best when they have an opportunity to be resting. So media people, thank you very much for being here. You may take your leave.